Hello guys, welcome back and thank you so much for being here. What's going on? Please like and share this video. You can just tell that this Pope, the new Pope Leo, does not see for JD Vance and his long-suffering wife. Like you can just tell, and who can actually blame him? So for those of you who don't know, JD Vance and his wife Yusha recently attended the Pope's inauguration ceremony and inaugural ceremony, and Marco Rubio was also there with his wife, and JD Vance got to feel firsthand how the new pope really feels about him. And as you can see from the video that played, the pope just kept shushing JD Vance away, and the cold shoulder was real in the situation. The cold shoulders was real, and it will not be the first time that Pope is expressing his disapproval of JD Vance's policies and just his anti-immigration rhetoric. This will not be the first time. A few months ago, his predecessor, the one who passed away before that, a few months before his predecessor passed away, the new Pope retweeted an article that directly contradicted JD Vance's narrative that the Word of God says you must first show love to your family members, and then to those closest to you, and then to your neighbor, next door neighbor, before loving people from other countries. Okay. And JD Vance said this in a bid to defend his anti-immigration stance when his faith as a so-called Catholic, when his faith was called into question. The whole thing where they say, "What will Jesus do?" Jesus was also an immigrant. If this was when Jesus was alive, was on earth in human form, I promise you, the Trump administration will be deporting and sending Jesus to Guantanamo Bay or to El Salvador prison. Yeah. So there was the article that was subsequently published to contradict JD Vance's hierarchy of love, and the now Pope Leo retweeted the article, and that was not the only time as well. There have been documented history of the new Pope rebuking JD Vance, and he shamelessly continues to do so because he has no integrity or he has no basic human decency. JD Vance, I mean. And Vance and Marco Rubio are they exemplify. Okay. Marco Rubio was also there. Let me show you guys the photo that they took together. JD Vance and Marco Rubio embodies the worst of Catholicism. These are really, really bad people, like bad Catholics. I don't even believe, in my opinion, that these are even true Christians, honestly. They only converted. If you read about the history of Marco Rubio and JD Vance religious history, you can see that they converted when it was convenient, when it was going to be politically beneficial to their careers, and that was when they converted. And anybody who doesn't see that obviously have their head way down into Trump's a-hole. Because if you can see, if you read, if you do your research and learn about how these two now claiming to be Catholic, it's just very convenient for them to be Catholic. Make no mistake about it. Okay. I mean, for you to know, I know some people say, but that's so harsh. Why would you say they are bad people? They are bad people. They are. I mean, look at the way that JD Vance responded to the question about President Biden's cancer diagnosis. Let me play the video for you guys to see what this man said. And this is supposed to be a Christian. Who?
Speaking of Joe Biden, sir, do you have Any thoughts on his diagnosis?
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all, of course, we wish the best for the former president's health. And, it sounds pretty serious, but hopefully he makes the right recovery. Like, I will say, whether the right time to have this conversation is now or at some point in the future, we really do need to be honest about whether the former president was capable of doing the job. And that's no, that you can separate the desire for him to have the right health outcome with the recognition that whether it was doctors or whether there were staffers around the former president, I don't think he was able to do a good job for the American people. And that's not politics. That's not because I disagreed with him on policy. That's because I don't think that he was in good enough health. In some ways, I blame him less than I blame the people around him. And why didn't the American people have a better sense of his health picture? Why didn't the American people have more accurate information about what he was actually dealing with? This is serious stuff. And this is the guy who carries around the nuclear football for the world's largest nuclear arsenal. This is not child's play, and we can pray for good health, but also recognize that if you're not in good enough health to do the job, you shouldn't be doing the job. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a safe trip. See ya.
You too.
Did you hear what this shameless eyeliner wearing nincompoop just said? Do you know how, Fox and Trump propaganda would be having aneurysm. Fox hosts will be having aneurysm. And somebody from Joe Biden's official said something like this. But do you see? And this is somebody, he said this while on his way from the Vatican. He even made sure to say that, the time, he even mentioned the timing, talking about how, this may be the time or not, maybe the best timing to say this. This is the kind of person that parades himself as a Catholic because it is beneficial for him to parade himself as a Catholic. Remember, before you know it, 2028 will be here. And everything that they are doing right now is to appease the MAGA base, doubling down on the lack of humanity. Like JD Vance is a disgusting piece of work. He really is a disgusting piece of work. This is what he says upon hearing that someone had been diagnosed with cancer and an aggressive form of cancer. And he cannot even put politics aside, even though he prefaced by saying, this is not about politics. We know very well that this is about politics. They have been hammering on Joe Biden, and now this news has basically given them the validation that they think they need to validate all of the attacks. He cannot even take a break from his awfulness. He can't even take a break from his wickedness and look at Joe Biden as a human being who is in a fight for his life. He has to draw jabs and do all these things because he's a disgusting piece of work. This is not the true representation of a true Christian. This is not what it means to be a true Christian. And this is why the MAGA people, I will never have any respect for them. I don't talk to them. I talk about them because they are not even worth any ounce of respect, because talking to them means you actually respect them. This is who they support. Joe Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris will never, ever say this about Trump. Not when she just heard that he's been diagnosed with something. But Joe Biden or Kamala Harris will never say this. Whatever disagreements with regards to policies that they have, they will put it aside and just hope for the best for him. But these people are so disgusting. They are such below the barrel person. They are so disgusting that it is not to them. The shocker to me would have been if he had just wished President Biden well and just went on his way. But no, they have to throw jabs because it's what they do. Like he's working for somebody. He's boss, is falling apart before our very eyes every day. But he has the audacity to say what he says about Joe Biden. It just tells you who these people are. JD Vance is a disgusting piece of work. Like, he is truly, truly disgusting. Really, really disgusting. Okay? He can't even keep his evil mind in check until he lands. He can't. And while we are talking about, the whole Vatican and inauguration, I think Donald Trump's White House is trying really, really hard to influence the Pope, the new Pope. That's why they keep going to the Vatican. That's why they keep showing up. I'm sure that they have seen, his previous post, the Pope Leo the 14th. They have seen his previous post, and they have seen what he feels about their policies. Because by now, I think even if they are slow, they would have already known that the Pope does not share their principles on immigration and a lot of things. Heck, the MAGA crowd even labeled him woke Pope, which is crazy to me. All because the Pope, the new Pope, has values that does not align with their wickedness. And so they are actively going. I really feel like they are they are trying to like get the Pope on their corner. They're actively courting the Pope. They are actively traveling over there. I think they're trying to get the Pope on their corner so that the Pope can co-sign whatever rubbish they are doing, whatever hateful, divisive, racist policies Trump's White House continue to implement, because this new Pope has been very outspoken against Trump's policies, and he's been retweeting a bunch of stuff. Again, like I said, so much so that he was labeled woke Pope by the MAGA crowd. So yeah. And you can just tell. Somebody says the Pope knows they are hypocrites. Absolutely, I agree. You can just tell by the look on the Pope's face. The Pope is not a fan. The Pope is not a fan. Like, he just kept shushing them away. He couldn't wait to get them out of his face. Look at the look on his face. Look at the look. He does not like them. Look at the look on his face. The Pope does not like JD Vance. But they are actively courting the Pope because it'll make them look good if they can convince the world that the Pope is in agreement with their anti-immigration policies. And that was why, when it was first announced that Pope Leo had been chosen, they were so happy because they thought, oh, he's an American. They went on and checked his record, and they saw that he was a Republican, and so they thought, okay. But then they dug deeper and they saw what is it called? They saw a lot of his tweets that did not align with the Republican values and principles and policies, and the MAGA crowd lost their mind. The MAGA crowd lost their mind, and they started moaning and groaning about how the Pope is a woke Pope. Hi, Eno. Hi. And I was just getting ready to leave. Thank you so much for being here, Eno Explores. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy situation. The Pope does not like this man. The Pope always, prior to him being confirmed, the Pope was always very outspoken about what he felt about JD Vance. So yeah. Anyways, I wanted to quickly share, and they keep going there because they want so badly for the Pope to agree with their policies, and it's just not gonna work. It's not. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment, like and share. I will catch you later. Bye.